Hello, good afternoon, and welcome back to NWCL Beyond the Boundary. I'm Kobe Donnelly, and today I'm with Brinscall's 2025 first team captain, Liam Winstanley. How are you, mate?
Very good, thanks. You?
Good, thank you. I'm good as well. So today I want to ask about the previous season at Brinscall, the upcoming season, and a few topics in between. You okay with that?
Absolutely fine. Yeah.
Real. So, firstly, could you introduce yourself, please? So, tell us about yourself, your role at Brinscall, and what made you take up the captaincy in 2025.
Okay, so I'm Liam Winstanley, Brinscall Cricket Club. I think I described myself as emergency last minute captain to you in the warm up. Um, yeah, our skipper, Sam McLachlan, still club captain. Unfortunately, he's working abroad for a few months, so he's going to miss the season. So yeah, I was sort of plunged into the hot seat once more for the. I don't know how many times I've done it now, but probably three or four different stints at it. In terms of the wider club, I'm quite heavily involved as well with the juniors in a coaching capacity. I don't sort of administrate. I just do some coaching and some assisting really. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Good. So obviously, looking back at last season, you didn't do too well in the T20s and Emma Cup. However, you managed to finish third in the championship at the end of when it finished. What were your expectations last season, and do you think what do you think you've learned to the team?
Well, I mean, the expectations last year were we had a bit of a lead up into last season, Corby, which was we had a few players come in the season before and then subsequently leave. Sam McLachlan took on the captaincy, and we just sort of changed the philosophy really around how we played. We got back to some of our old core values, enjoying the game a little bit more, not taking it too seriously, albeit seriously when you cross the white line kind of thing. So I think what we went into the season really just looking to consolidate and see where we went really off the back of a difficult 2023. So yeah, that was kind of where we landed last year. And as you say, we ended up we didn't do too well in the cups, but the cups are the cups. That's what they are. Um, in terms of the league, we did pretty well. At one point we were thinking, hang on a minute, if we string a few wins together here, we could get promoted. But it wasn't to be in the end. But having said that, still a pretty good season.
Yeah. See, you had obviously a pro and overseas, Madhura Badashankar as pro, and David Van Tonder, who's a brother of Paddy Hum's overseas, Xander Van Tonder, as you obviously mentioned last year. They both had a very good season. Madura
Mm.
got 829 runs and 55 wickets, and Devan got 506 runs and 38 wickets. What did you make of their season last year, and what did they offer the club both on and off the field?
Well, I mean, firstly, we were hoping they were going to be back this year, which kind of underlines what we thought of them across the club. So both great lads. They lived together. They kind of did most things together. They were good mates. So that helped them both kind of settle in when they first came over. Performance wise, Madura was started off a little stickily with the bat, but when he found his feet and got used to the wickets, etc., he just churned them out every week, and he's one of those batsmen where you don't think he's done anything, and all of a sudden he's 30 not out. Just quietly goes about his business. Really good player, and his bowling was probably better than what we were expecting as well. As you say, 55 wickets. It's a decent haul, really. Divan, again, smashing lad. As you say, his brother's over here. I think he's over here again this summer as well for Paddy. Unfortunately, couldn't come back, but again, good first season for him. I think if he does come back in future, he'll do much better. There's a lot of talent there, both with bat and with ball. But yeah, what did they bring to us? Well, you can see they brought runs and wickets, but they also helped with the overall cohesion of the club. they pitched in off the pitch in all aspects. You know, they were pulling pints at the beer festival. They were coaching with the juniors, particularly Madura was doing a lot of that. So yeah, you know, it's what you want from your overseas players, and we were gutted really that initially they both agreed to come back, re-signed, but unfortunately things happened in both their lives when they got home where they couldn't come back.
And obviously, you took your first team there, but also last year you had a third team. Taken away of the position and they didn't do too well in the league. But what benefit did that give to the club last year by having the third team in the development division?
Yeah, I think we've only had maybe one season in recent history where we haven't run a third team in probably the last 5-6 years. Yeah, the development 11, really important for us. This it's one of those. It's finding that bridge between junior cricket and senior cricket, because I find these days that the format of the junior cricket that the juniors play, I don't think necessarily prepares them for a longer format game. So, you know, being able to get them into when they're old enough, be able to get them out of the sort of under 13s, under 14s, under 15s type age group and get them involved in adult cricket is a great stepping stone and a learning facility for them. Especially if you get a group of them that can all come in together, which is what we're hoping this year as well. We've got a group of them that qualify to play this year, so I think we'll see plenty of them taking the field this year.
Yeah, I think I'm involved at juniors at Tongue, and I think obviously it's only played 20 overs. You don't get that kind of the stamina and physicality of playing a 40 or 45 over game. I think that's obviously really important, like you mentioned, to kind of it's ability to sample, be able to play with the seniors, get in that kind of the experience of playing on a Sunday afternoon with obviously and it's a development division, but you can't just have a full team of juniors there. You still
No.
need them few senior players to kind of nurture them and help them develop well. But I think we've covered last
Great.
season.
Yeah.
So looking ahead into 2025, what are expectations this year? And have you got any incomings, any outgoings? And you've mentioned pro and overseas. So have you got them sorted for this year yet?
Yeah, so I'll take it bit by bit. That one's about 3 questions in one there, but yeah, the expectations. I mean, look, we're in the Championship division. We had a decent season last year. It said a lot at the end of last season that we were actually a little bit disappointed in the end. We thought we could have finished a little bit higher. A few close games that we didn't get over the line in, and so. When you're in the Championship division, I bumped into Ian Brickcliffe the other week from Ribblesdale Wanderers, and I was asking him, what are your expectations for this year? And straight away, he just went promotion. So I think if you ask every captain in the division, that's what they'll say. We're aiming to be promoted, and that's that. So that's kind of where we are with the thought process there. Any incomes and outgoings, we're just working hopefully on a couple of incomings, which I can't obviously go into yet because they'll be subject to sign off from clubs and all that kind of thing, but we're hopefully bringing a couple in. In terms of outgoings, obviously we've lost our skipper, Sam McLachlan, so we've lost some runs and some wickets and a bloody good skipper as well. So we'll have to cope with that this summer. We've also lost Ateek Shaw's gone to Atherton, so he was tempted by the promise of playing in the top division. So obviously we're working on replacing those slots. In terms of the professional and the overseas amateur, we have Kasun Abarathne, who's a Sri Lankan top-order batsman, also bowls a little bit of leg spin and keeps wicket, so he could be quite useful. Got 6 first-class hundreds, so he's obviously non-mug. So looking forward to seeing him. All our contacts in Sri Lanka, previous pros and stuff that we've had have all said he's a top player. So, let's hope he can settle in quickly. On the overseas amateur side, young South African Richard Williams coming over. Off spinning all rounder. Again, can only go off the videos and things like that you get sent for the amateur guys. But again, a young 19, 20-year-old, I think he is, looks a good prospect, and fits the sort of model and the mould that we've gone for previously with the overseas amateurs.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And you mentioned,
overall pretty happy. Would I have liked, obviously, still to have Sam and Atik in the club for the summer ahead? Yeah, obviously we would. And then if we could have added one or two to that, even better. But as I say, we've got with lads coming back who are promising a bit more availability this time, so that should help as well.
obviously, all the teams in the championship go for promotion this year. What do you think your biggest challenge is for game promotion compared maybe what the other clubs might have at their strengths?
I think the big issue for us, and probably not just us, frankly, will be consistency of availability. You can put your best side out one week, and then all of a sudden you've two or three lads missing the week after, and that's for me what tends to, it tends to stop the ball rolling. If you're in a good run, if you suddenly lose a couple of key players, due to availability issues, that's probably the biggest challenge we've got. Obviously, when you're bringing in a couple of new guys from overseas, we need to make sure that they bed in nicely, get to understand how we want to play and how we want them to contribute. So yeah, there's those challenges, but it's, I played a lot of cricket, and it's a lot of times it's how you start the season that matters. If you start badly, it's a long season. If you start well, it can be a really good season, and consequently, if you start well, you end up with better availability all of a sudden.
Yeah. And do you think you've got any strengths, which obviously mentioned challenges, but any strengths that maybe other clubs don't have, which could really enhance your abilities to get promoted this year?
Well, I think if you ask other people who've played against us over the years in the league, we don't. We're a pretty resilient side. We don't tend to get rolled over. We'll always give you a game, barring one or two exceptions over the years. But I think that's going to be a key issue for us is maintaining what Sam was able to build last year, which was a lot of good team spirit, a lot of resilience. Quite a few local lads, obviously playing for us and stuff, and just getting that sort of Brinscall mentality back in the club.
Yeah. So looking this year, is anything going on at Brinscall on or off the pitch this year? Obviously, you mentioned your beer festival there.
Yeah, beer festival. Wow. So yeah, that was sort of a mad idea this time last year. About January, February time last year. To put on a beer festival. We'd never done one before, so we thought we'll give it a go. I mean, obviously, it was a financial risk to us because we didn't know whether it'd be a success or not. Anyway, we sold out of beer just after a day of the 3 days. So we ended up with 2 emergency beer supplies coming from all over the place. So that was great last year. So we're repeating that this year. We're going a little bit bigger with it, hopefully. That's the second bank holiday weekend at the end of May. So the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's just music and beer and cricket all weekend. So yeah, hopefully that'll be a good event for us and a good fundraiser, hopefully as well.
You mentioned obviously your involvement in junior cricket. So I want to know is what's the long term plan at Brinscall for juniors, the silverware, anything around that?
Yeah, so I mean, we as I say, we've been in this sort of period really since COVID, where we had the junior section was working really well, and then COVID came along and kind of wiped it out. We've not got like 150 kids on a Friday night at the club. We've got all stars, dynamos, girls, dynamos, and then we've got I think this season we're putting a 12s in the Palace Shield, because I don't think there's a 12s in the Northwest Cricket League, and a 13s and a 15s in the Northwest Cricket League. So we should have, hopefully, again, bringing through another sort of under 10 squad off the back of the All Stars, Dynamos, etc. It's absolutely crucial to us. We think that if we look back at the sides we've had previously have done really well. They've predominantly been built up for people who've come through the system, rather than being made up of imported players from all over the place. So, and again, it's going back to that sort of Brinscall philosophy and that psychology that we've got around, having that Brinscall mentality, playing hard, playing with your mates, playing to win, and enjoying each other's company afterwards as well, which is really important. And we think that the juniors, the pathway through the juniors into the third team and beyond, is fully well open. We would rather pick junior players, than people like me, for example, at my age. So it's absolutely crucial to us. We're not the sort of club that's going to go out and sign 5 or 6 players and turn over half a first team. We just don't have that reach, if you like. So yeah, really important to us. We're putting a lot of time and effort into it. We've been busy all winter with it. I think they've entered the under 11s and under 13s, entered 3 different indoor comps. So we had the Northwest Cricket League one, we had the Academy North one, and we had the Chorley District one. Under 13s won the Chorley District one, and I think we got through to finals and semi-finals in all the others in both age groups. So it's looking pretty healthy at the moment, touch wood, but really busy. Lots of hours, lots of parents dragging the kids between, playing cricket on a Saturday morning and then having to get over to Preston or wherever to play a game of football in the afternoon. So there's a lot of effort goes into it, as you're probably aware. But hopefully we'll see a little bit of reward for that effort in the next 2 or 3 years. That's the plan.
We mentioned juniors, didn't I? Talking about silverware, I don't know when the last time you won silverware at the club in your first team.
Well, we're going back a long. We've not won anything in the senior division since we've been in the senior division of the Ribblesdale League. I think we got to a first team cup final and lost to Reed. We got to T20 finals day and didn't win that. You're going back to probably when we got promoted out of the old Ribblesdale Junior Division, where we won Division 1 a couple of times.
So when Tong were back in the Bourne Cricket League and we won the T20 Cup in 2021, and we never won anything for over 10 years before that. And that brought a proper team spirit together. Everyone, it was the best day of my life for sure. Yeah. What do you think in the future, if Brinscall was to win the league this year, win a trophy in the next few years, what do you think that would give to the club getting silverware?
Oh, it'd be massive. We don't step out every year not to try and win things. We try and win every game that we play in. Obviously, I'm from a generation where when I was in my prime, we were in the old sort of Chorley District League originally, and we won things quite regularly. And then all of a sudden to have a situation where I was sort of one of the younger end of the side and the older end of the side all retired. Then we went into the Ribblesdale League and we were transitioning through that as well. And whilst we picked up a few trophies along the way in the Ribblesdale League, it wasn't, we're very aware that we could do with winning something, because, as you say, it gives your whole club a massive pickup. A huge, still a huge desire at the club to win things. But sometimes you've got to build from the bottom a little bit, and sometimes you've got to take a longer term strategic view with how you put in your squads and your sides together, and play the long game. And that's pretty much where we are and where we've been really for the last sort of last few seasons. So yeah.
Well, you mentioned the Brinscall mentality before, so I want to talk about the club. So how would you describe the team spirit and culture at Brinscall, and what do you think makes the club so special in your eyes?
Well, I mean, from a personal point of view, it's the place I first played cricket. I other than playing some backyard stuff with my dad, I played. We moved to South Africa for a few years, so I played cricket I got an introduction to cricket in South Africa initially, and then when we came home, I was about 11. In fact, I was just turning 12 years of age, and that's when I got my first introduction to the club and cricket in general, adult cricket. We were playing adult cricket at 12, 13 years of age then, and we didn't have under 12s, under 13s, under 14s, under 15s. We had an under 18s. So, along with a lot of other clubs at the time in the same in the different leagues. So, for me personally, it's always held a special. It's always been a place that's held a special place in my heart. And I don't speak for myself. There's a lot of people at the club who've been there a long time, as there is at other cricket clubs. But the spirit, the sort of the spirit that we've been associated with over the years is, as I mentioned earlier, it's one of resilience. It's one of we play very, very hard. We try to. You'll not get an easy game against us. We've got a lot of pride, and we go out there to represent our village. So it's that community aspect to it as well, Corby, I suppose. We've a lot of the lads who are still involved at the club have grown up together. So it's those sort of values really that we feel makes it a little bit special. And I suppose other clubs would say similar things about themselves.
Brinscall now. So I want to see your thoughts on the upcoming season on the whole. So there's been new pros, new overseas, new signings. And you mentioned before that everyone's going to go for promotion this year in the championship. But in your opinion, who do you see challenging for promotion this year? As any club that you see on social media for new signings and stuff, you feel they're going to be going up for the league this year?
Well, I think you've got to look at the two that have come down. So you've got to look at Astley Bridge and Rib. They're going to be wanting to get straight back. I know Rib have recruited. I don't know too much about Astley Bridge and what they've been up to. Rib have recruited a couple, I know that. Been a lot of signings at Earby and Baxenden in particular, and some good signings as well by the looks of it. So Baxenden were a good side last year, so I suspect they'll probably be throwing themselves in the mix this time. Earby again probably had a difficult year or two maybe, but again they pulled a couple of lads in again that look like they're going to strengthen. I think Matt Milter's back there this year. He's always been a good player. So I think those are probably the Cherry Tree have recruited. They look like they've got a stronger squad this time. Different pro as well. When I look at the league, Corby, I look at it. When I was preparing for this and I was looking at it, I was sort of going through team by team and going, well, they could be all right this season. They could be all right this season. I really think it's wide open because with respect, I don't know too much about Astley Bridge, but I don't think we're going to have a situation where we've got somebody like Reed steamrolling everybody every week, like they pretty much did last season. They were head and shoulders above everybody last season. So I can't see a side that's standing out to me like that. But that'll make for good cricket. I think it'll be interesting.
You mentioned Astley Bridge before. They've lost the captain, Matt Hargraves. He's gone to Australia, but they signed Sydney, can't remember his surname now, as captain, and Sydney De Silva actually, and he seems a good player, so he'll definitely help him. As you mentioned, EB, they took Jake Hargreaves from Baxenden, so he'll help this year.
He's an EB lad, isn't he? He went to pro at so he's played for EB for years, so he'll be slotting back into his usual rhythm at EB there. But Baxenden as well. You mentioned. Go on. What you were going to say there?
Obviously, about EB, they had Adam Hodge first year, who had a breakout year, and then Evan Dobson last year. So I'm going to see which junior is going to have a breakout year this year for him, because it's so nice to see when you see them juniors playing first team and doing so well in the first team as well, and it is really good to see.
Yeah, I think young Hodge has done okay as well. In the Lancashire League as well, hasn't he? He's been doing okay, I think. I don't follow it too much, but young Dobson last year at EAB, he looked a good player, quite well, nicely organised. I just think it's a shame, when you look at if I'm sat here representing EAB, I'd be looking at that and going, well, we've put a lot of hard work in, and you can't hold the guys back. Ultimately, you can't. If they've got ambitions to play in a different league or at a different level or whatever, you can't hold them back. But it's great that they actually chuck them in. Because a lot of clubs, they might not have seen the first team as early as what they did. And going back to the discussion about the juniors there, we're not going to be scared of that. We're not going to be scared of saying to a talented young junior, look, come and play some first team cricket. Just because you're 15, 14, 16, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean you, because of your age, you're not good enough to play. So I agree with you. I think it's good to see. And it's good for the league. If all the clubs are bringing through good young players, that's got to be a positive, surely.
Yeah, Winstanley side is probably one of the best in the Northwest. We've won a few trophies the last 2 years. This year they've just done the who's playing in what age groups, and I'm looking at. I looked through yesterday, and there's some good players across the age groups, and I think a couple from Brinscall as well.
Yeah,
So that'll be really good to see this year and see how they develop in the senior teams, third team, seconds, and whether they play first team as well. But so the NWCL had 2 successful years now, and when it was announced from the Bolton side, I know there was a lot of excitement. Along with that excitement, there was a few concerns as well. But I want to know your thoughts on the last 2 years on the NWCL in terms of the structure, the quality of cricket, and anything else you want to mention about that.
yeah. I mean, it came a bit out of the blue, didn't it? At the time, I know there had been sort of some vague discussions previously. Around the time when a lot of the leagues were sort of realigning, weren't they? So you had like the Palace Shield and the Northern League, and then you had the Lancashire League expansion and the GMCL's inception. Things were changing all around, and the Bolton League and the Ribblesdale League seemed to be stuck in the middle of it all, really. So personally, I think it's been a really positive step. I think the two division structure works. We actually had it for a while in the Ribblesdale League. We had a two division structure with sort of ups and downs. And what you found was that there's very few dead rubbers. Everybody was playing for something going up towards the end of the season. So the structure itself works. I think, and I'm sure the NWCL are on with this, but I think probably need another couple of clubs in. So I believe there's plans afoot for that. But in terms of like the geography and everything, I think there were some concerns about that at the start. Not from us. We're 10 miles from Bolton. It didn't bother us at all. So we looked at the map and went, well, we're pretty much in the middle of it all, to be honest. And the travelling, it's all motorway, and it's all sort of M61, M65, and so that's not been an issue, I don't think, for anybody. And in terms of the quality, yeah, definitely. I think it's forced everybody, particularly on the Ribblesdale League side, after the first season, to look at themselves and go, hang on a minute, we just need to up our game a little bit here. Key difference we noticed in the first year was the professionals. So we found that the Bolton League professionals were, with all due respect, were probably better than the Ribblesdale League professionals, and probably that's a budget issue as much as anything. So yeah, it's forced us all, I think, in the Ribblesdale League, the old Ribblesdale League clubs, to sort of say, hang on a minute, if we're gonna compete long term, then we need to be looking at all our organisation, all our fundraising, all our financials, and everything, to make sure that and the infrastructure, the juniors, the facilities, and all that sort of stuff. Because we all want the same thing at the end of the day, Corby. Both, all members of the Northwest Cricket League want the same thing. We want a thriving league. We want an exciting league. We want a league that other players want to come and play in, and other clubs want to maybe come and join. The speed at which it was all put together and how professionally it was put together was pretty amazing, to be honest. So I think it's been a real positive for everybody who's been involved in it, and I think it's going to go from strength to strength, to be honest.
In the last 2 years, have you played against any Bolton-based sides or certain players you thought, they're very good? Has anyone really stood out to you, or any team that has?
I'm not great with names, to be honest. Well, that sounds a bit odd, but yeah, I mean there were quite a few players we played against in the first year. And I'll be honest with you, we finished the game, we had a beer together, but it was only one season. It was like playing a cup game, really. So I didn't really get to know any of them, or to single anybody out. To be fair, but yeah, I think across the piece they probably played against some players in our Ribblesdale League side and gone, he's a good player, he's a good player. It's what happens, isn't it? The amateur matchups were pretty consistent, I think. So yeah, it's going to be interesting the next few years. I think there's probably I'd like to see a little bit more mix across the divisions. I think that might come with a little bit of time, but I think speaking for ourselves, we probably need a year or two more development work in the background, because when we do go up, we want to make sure that we stay up. We don't want to be going up and coming back down.
So for the last question, I've changed this question now from one I asked Taylor and Will. So some quick fire questions, and I've sent you these questions beforehand. So I'll start with the first one. Your favourite cricketing memory?
That's probably playing my first game. It was my dad used to send me up to the cricket pitch on a Saturday. He said, "Right, take your whites just in case they're short," And I turned up one day and they were short. Brinscall second team back in the day, and yeah, so that probably my favourite memory. It was fine leg to fine leg for 45 overs, batted 11, didn't bowl, but absolutely enjoyed it, and I just got the bug. Even though I wasn't really involved in the game, I just got the bug. So probably that, yeah.
And the toughest amateur and pro bowler that you faced in your time?
Oh God, I'm 50, Corby. I think I'm gonna. So I spent a few years at Chorley Cricket Club, and certainly the best amateur bowler that I have faced, albeit only in the nets, was Keith Eccleshare, who will probably be. Did he play for your club? I think he might have done back in the day. So Keith Eccleshare was a leg. Well, he's a seam bowler, I think. Maybe he's in the Bolton League, but he pro'd for Chorley, and then he was amateur for Chorley. Really good leg spinner, really fantastic leg spinner. So probably Keith on a long term view. More recently, if I have to choose, say, a professional from recent years, I would probably go with names escape my mind now. I'm struggling with that one, to be honest. Let's move on.
Yeah. So your favourite ground to play at besides Brinscall?
I like playing it. It's not because of I don't get a lot of runs there. I never have done, but I like playing at Earby. I just think it's a fantastic little picturesque ground, but also I love the people watching on the sidelines. They get proper stuck into you there. So yeah, I like Earby.
And your favourite cricketing legend?
Ian Botham.
And last one word your teammates would use to describe you. And if anybody's going to watch, I want you to comment on this video and see what you think as well.
Old.
Oh, that's the only question that I have. Before we finish, is anything that you'd like to add?
No, just thank you for inviting us on and giving us a chance to have a little chat about our club and the league and so on, and keep doing this sort of stuff. It's good stuff.
Real. So I'll give this out on social media probably next week. And I'll thank you for coming on. And I wish you best of luck for the season. And I'll hope to see you soon.
Thanks, Corby. You too. All the best.
Cheers. Thank you.
I know.